What's the purpose of this session?
Basically, before the MMR got refreshed, I was near ancient, and then I got just stuck on legend
Anyone here know what
4
a
and
dead
5,
lane
and
is?
I couldn't get back my rank. I don't know, I used to play position 5, then I shifted to core, safe lane, and I don't know where I'm making my mistakes now.
Okay.
So I basically just wanna recognize my mistakes. That's all.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Do you have a replay in mind?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Go ahead and post it up in Discord, and we'll get it going.
Sure. Second.
People are so stupid. Sorry. If he sounds 12, I sound like a fetus. That's actually pretty accurate. People are saying you sound 12, I think, because of your accent.
No, man.
You don't sound 12. Is basically
Not at all.
My God, people are just so fucking offensive. Okay, so I don't know why I acknowledge that comment in the middle of a session. Usually I don't do that. Okay, so playing PA here. First and foremost, really hard PA game. Just looking at the heroes. But, so a lot of core, I think, is understanding, 1 second. Hero matchups. So when did you draft PA here?
Last pick, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but then basically
So you saw Axe, Pugna, Warlock.
yeah.
Okay, I guess PA.
Yeah, but I was hoping it's gonna be try versus 2, but it went 2-1-2.
Yeah, so that's partially understanding the meta too, right? Because in this meta, it's 99% 2-1-2. That's just kind of what happens. I think it's starting to bleed down to every bracket of Dota. The problem with playing carry this patch specifically is, especially if you're learning, is it's really hard. I think carry's one of the hardest roles to play right now because you get dual laned every game, and then they're always really strong dual lanes. You're probably against Pugna Axe or Warlock Axe, and it's how do you lane any carry in the game versus that crap? So, I think the PA pick's okay. So I'm not gonna actually worry about it. The Bloodseeker is a very good hero against it, but obviously you didn't see that yet. Okay, so let's see this here. First and foremost, very small thing. You're against an Axe. So if you're ever going to kill him, what's your health going to look like?
Most probably it's gonna be are you asking if I'm going to kill him what's
after
gonna take
you, if you kill him, you kill him, what's your health going to look like?
Barely, I'm gonna die. Most probably if there's someone else on the lane.
But it's gonna be low regardless. Why?
Yeah. Because of his spins and
and there's nothing you can do about it, right?
Yeah, I just need more regen.
So you're against Bloodseeker, and you're against a hero that if you kill him, you'll be low health. What item should be in your starting items?
Yeah. 6 tangos, 1 healing salve, and
that's all I care about is the salve. Okay, so very simple, but something I've gone over a bit. And as a carry, any core role, it's very important that you just think about how the lane's gonna play out. With the current items you have, you're literally saying, "I'm never killing this Axe. I cannot kill this guy." And if you cannot kill that guy, what's a good player gonna do if he's Axe?
He's gonna just fuck me over.
Yeah.
That's all. He's gonna push in the wave, get the tower, then push in.
Exactly. Okay, so here's real quick, okay? I hate to do this. I used this earlier. I'm just gonna show you a quick example, okay? By not building, I used this earlier, but if you don't build a salve, this is what you're doing. So I saw this in my game, by the way. I didn't mention it live, but I saw that. Okay, is Bristleback not the same type of hero as Axe? If you go on Bristleback and you kill him, aren't you going to lose most of your health?
That's true.
Okay, So I saw this where I was against this Beastmaster player. He's ranked like he's ranked 700, right? He's the top 700. Okay, so you can get to the top 700. What just happened here? Oh, am I not sharing screen yet? Probably not. Nope. Okay. Thanks for reminding me, asshole. No, I'm kidding. That's my fault. Okay.
I was watching it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of delayed.
Yeah, it's like 5-10 seconds innately. I can't do anything about it. Okay, so I'm this bristle, and I'm thinking if he goes on me, right, he's going to lose a ton of health. And so I immediately see that he has no salve. So let's fast forward to when he kills me. Right here. Exactly what I said, right? He's going to lose almost all his health. So look at the net worths when I die. So in this meta, to understand it, it's very important that what are the purpose of kills in this meta? Do you know?
The purpose? No.
To get more creeps than the other guy. The only reason you kill people is so that after the kill, you get more creeps than they do.
Yeah.
So he's now 100 net worth ahead of me, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But he doesn't have a salve. So he's this health. I come back to lane full. So he's now 100 net worth ahead of me. Sorry, he's now 150 net worth ahead of me. But guess what?
You're going to zone him out.
I'm going to zone him out. And look at the net worth as the time goes on.
That's
You see it? And that's all because he didn't buy himself a salve. So my point is, the minute you go into this lane, by not buying a salve, you have literally lost the lane, SPA. This guy's the same thing. And that's specifically understanding whatever hero you're playing against. And that may seem like a relative, it is pretty advanced to some extent, but, no, I need to go to your, sorry. It seems advanced to some extent, but it's just like, the way I try to picture it for you is if whatever hero I'm playing, I kill whatever hero they're playing, what's it gonna cost me? And if the answer is a lot of mana, then maybe you need a couple mangoes. If the answer is a lot of health, then you need a salve. Because what happens is, it's one of those things where if the other guy understands that, and you don't, then he's gonna do what I did, where he recognizes, I dare you to fucking kill me. And then you just have 100 health, he dies, he comes back with full health, full mana, you have 100 health, and even though you killed him, he wins the lane. And if you don't kill him, he wins the lane. So, how do you win the lane? There is no possible way to win this lane. It's sad when you think about it that way, but that's why I in a lot of my stuff, I emphasize, even just starting items being that important. Because your starting items are your declaration of how you think this lane's gonna go. What problems you're gonna face, what things you're concerned about, what you need in order to win the lane, etc. Right? It is literally you stating, this is how the lane's gonna go. So personally, in this lane, I think I would have gone Tango, Salve, Stout, Quelling. Why do you think I would have started with a Quelling?
So that you can get the creeps without them getting denied from Pugna and Axe.
Why is it super important to not get denied against Axe?
Because so that you can have almost the same experience he's gonna get when he's gonna push in the lane.
That's true, but how does Axe win the lane?
Getting more experience than you, and the moment
battle hungering you.
Yeah.
So if he's battle hungering me, what do I have to do to prevent myself from taking a lot of damage from battle hunger?
Yeah, so you have to deny the creep or
you have to get last hits, right? Yeah. So so first off, you have to get last hits. So technically, in this lane, sorry to interrupt you, I'm just making sure we get enough out of this session.
Sure, no.
In this lane, effectively, because Battle Hunger is his main source of damage early on, Quelling Blade is effectively regen. Is it not? And you may say, BSJ, why would I buy it in my initial items?
I know
Go ahead.
I was considering buying Quelling Blade and like, but then I was like, maybe if I buy like Branch, I get like some stats and I could do the trade-offs and then I could buy from the side shop.
Okay, there you go. You got to the point that I got to. Who shoves the lane more, you or them?
They,
Okay. Is this lane ever gonna go here?
barely.
It's never going
Which
there.
is like, yeah,
Spoiler
99%.
alert, it's not going there. So if the
Yeah.
lane never goes here, tell me, when do you go to side shop?
Never.
Okay.
Then.
So when are you getting that quelling blade?
Never.
Okay, cool. Good talk. The cool thing is, about all this stuff I'm explaining to you, not to be a smartass about it, it can all be established with knowledge pregame. Like, my point is that maybe you don't know this stuff, okay? Maybe because, like, you know, limited experience, whatever. You don't know this stuff. But this is the stuff that when it happens to you, you need to learn from in the future. You know what I mean? Like, from this specific game, you should know against a lane like this, the first consideration is, like, one consideration going into the lane is what happens when we try to kill each other. Who wins the trades? Who wins the CS? Am I ever going to have access to the side shop? All these things matter. All these things absolutely matter. Am I CSing under tower all the time? Am I, like, it's all something that's going to happen differently in every single lane. And whenever you're playing matchups, the goal is, okay, maybe you've never played the matchup before. Fine. You're not going to know, for sure. Make an educated guess. You'll probably be wrong. The point is, never play that matchup again and lose the same way twice in a row. Like, that's the last thing that I can afford for you to happen. So, whether or not you've played this matchup, whether or not, you know, whatever, my goal from a session like this is every time you play a matchup from now on like this, whatever mistake you make the first time, you're not going to make it the second time. And those questions I asked you to ask yourself are what matter for not repeating these mistakes. That's what matters. If you don't want to repeat these mistakes, you need to ask yourself the right questions, because the questions are always the same, the answers are always different. That's how Dota works. Okay. Continue asking questions if you want. Moving on. Pretty good creep aggro there. Nice last hitting. The fact that it went to your side shop's an anomaly to me. I can't believe it did. I think that's just a misplay. Like, if I'm a really good player and I'm this axe, you never walk to that side shop. You're never getting there. Like, I'm literally thinking to myself, this guy wants to go to the side shop. Anytime he goes, I'm going to right-click him like 4 times. Like, that's how I'm thinking about it. But that's what happens, you know. It's just lower MMR you go, the less people punish you for the same things. Okay. This is what the lane pretty much should look like the entire time. I feel like you're not using dagger enough to see us. But that's like a very minimal thing. Okay. Overall, I think you're doing pretty good. So I'm not gonna harp on too much right now. But same idea. So how does Bloodseeker change the game that no other hero does?
From his thirst.
Okay. So if you're sitting at half health, you're effectively losing the lane for somebody else on your team.
Yeah, basically we're gonna lose 2 lanes.
Yeah. So that's something where you kind of, like, I want that to be factored into your items as well. That's, like, included in all the regen. The way I would look at this game is I probably go the starting items I mentioned, the Tango Salve, Stout Quelling.
Yeah.
The Quelling because you know you need to secure those CS. And then you're going to have to use the Courier sometime in the first, like, 2 or 3 minutes and fly yourself more regen, because it's not going to be enough. Like, you're not going to have enough regen. So it's just something where whenever you end up using this Courier, whether it's for a full wand, whether it's a Wraith Band, whatever it's for, what should be on that Courier?
3 tangos and 1 healing salve.
Either way, more regen. However much you need.
Yeah.
That's the point. Like, if you still had a salve, maybe you don't need to fly yourself another. The idea is, though, regen needs to be on that Courier.
Okay.
So I can only hope that you do not use this Courier until you have tangos on it. So your net worth currently at 3.5 minutes is 1,300. 500 of it or 600 of it is not on your person.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing as I just talked about in my last session. You're effectively half of your net worth. So this is just one of those things where you needed that quelling blade. You've probably missed 4 CS because you don't have one. And then,
yeah, that's true.
And then you also, this Wraith Band was purchased like 20 seconds before this courier left base. And now it's gone. Now it left base without your Wraith Band. You're just, there's something that literally happened last session too. You guys are just neutering yourself. You're like, let's try to play this really hard lane with half of my effective net worth. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Not to be, like, jokingly about it.
Yeah, no, I got it.
The lane's hard enough as it is, man. Like, you know, you don't have to make it challenge mode. You know, you don't have to say, hey, I'm going to make sure let's try this really hard lane with twice the difficulty. Like, you know, this isn't where you play, you know, Legendary on Halo. You know, it doesn't help you any to make this game harder. Yeah, so moving on. It's like, overall, it's like a pretty straightforward concept, but a lot of people apply it incorrectly, and now the Bloodseeker's probably crushing mid based on what I'm seeing on your guys' health. Okay, you're against Bloodseeker. What should happen here?
No, like, Shaman health or on my health?
I have your mouse, I have my mouse over it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna use the magic stick.
Okay.
Let's go half below.
Okay, yeah, you should use it right now. Like, yeah, it should happen right now. You being topped off as often as possible, ultra important against Bloodseeker. Every hero in the game of Dota 2 somehow slightly adjusts the way you have to play. And it's super important that whatever heroes those are, over time, you try to grasp it. Like, you just do your best to slowly learn heroes one by one. And I think Bloodseeker is probably the most punishing hero in the entire game for this kind of stuff. But first and foremost, you have to have more regen when you're against a Bloodseeker, and you can't hold sticks and stuff when you're at half. It's, you know, I know I'm repeating it, but it's just something where over time the goal is you just need to approach the game differently based on every hero in the game. So you have this Wraith Band. You're missing a lot. What are you doing? You're shopping. Let's see what you're buying here. Buying tangos, which is good. I'd even buy myself a salve. Buy yourself a salve. Okay, so you're waiting for the courier. You're waiting for your Sage's mask.
Yeah. Maybe a salve also, I'm not sure.
You're definitely just waiting too long. I think in this spot, how do I word this? It's interesting. Even just flying yourself like 2 components of a Wraith Band and then the regen is better than waiting this long. Because once again, you're just... I think now I've seen probably 6 or 7 CS that you've missed because you don't have damage. You don't have any quelling, you don't have a Wraith Band, you don't have anything. So you have 12 CS. That's 50% more CS because of the wrong items or courier usage. And that's super, like, shitty if you think about it. Like, I'm trying hard to win this fucking lane, and I have, 50% less CS because I didn't use the courier properly. You know, like, that's the last thing you're probably thinking about when you're trying to, get better at Dota. Like, what, if you're trying to ask yourself, what's stopping me from getting better, and then you're now realizing that half of your CS missed is because you didn't have the right items, which is really depressing. So this is just unfortunate. At this point, it's a lot of little things that I'm seeing so far, obviously. Little efficiency things that make your lane even harder. In a game like this, as opposed to earlier, in both of my coaching sessions that have already occurred, in my Medusa coaching session as well as my TA session, I focus much less on the lane in those sessions. Because I looked at Medusa versus Tidehunter, and I'm like, oh, favorite matchup. Lane's not going to be a problem. So if they make mistakes, it's really hard to even teach them how punishing they are, because if you're in a favorable matchup, mistakes mean instead of heavily winning it, you slightly win it, or it goes even. But in a bad matchup, mistakes mean you go from slightly losing it to getting crushed. Like that's how Dota works, right? So in this game, you're in a bad matchup and you're against Bloodseeker. So all that matters in this game is the lane. Like that's all that matters. So all of these little mistakes you're making are probably going to make this game unplayable. Like you just got your Ember killed. It's like one of those things. It adds up a lot, and it's sad to say, but that's the reality of, especially in low and Mar Dota. When I say low, you know, we always say low. It's anything that isn't high, really high. The heroes like Bloodseeker, like the rest of their team, the rest of the team is actually killing the guy who's laning against Bloodseeker. Okay, so long story short, I mean, I already said it, but against Bloodseeker, unacceptable. To give you an idea, if you're missing 50% HP, you're giving him 14 damage and 40 move speed.
Okay.
Does that, you know, put it a little bit in perspective? Like what, like imagine any hero you're playing with 14 damage and 40 move speed. like that's what you're giving him, right? I'm just making sure numbers crunch wise, the understanding that, you know, is happening based on you being at half health. Okay. Or is it maxed at 25%? No, you're actually giving him 20 damage and you're giving him 20 damage and
how much percentage is it?
It's 40 is max. So what happens is it works is that it maxes out at 25%. And wait, I actually should know this. This is pathetic. It maxes out at 25% and it starts at 75. So if you're at 50, you're giving him half the bonus.
Yeah.
That makes sense? So you're giving him half the bonus at 50%. So when you're at 50% health, you're giving him 20 damage and 20% move speed, which is when he has about 350. That's about 70 move speed.
Yeah, almost 400.
That's 70 move speed. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's,
yeah.
Like imagine playing Ember against a guy with 20 bonus damage and 70 bonus move speed. It's like unplayable. My point is, you know, these little things will add up. In this game in particular, the sad reality is it's probably going to be over at the lanes. And I think we kind of see it. It's already a 5k advantage. The fact that you lost your lane. What happened was yesterday, very similar thing happened for me. I was playing Axe in the off lane. I had a Techies who randomly decided that he wanted to jungle at 4 minutes into the game and left me to solo off lane against Weaver Shadow Shaman. So what happens is I was against Weaver Shadow Shaman as Axe Techies. We're in a bad matchup, which means we're not supposed to win. But the goal is, when you're in a bad matchup, it doesn't mean you have to win. It just means you have to not get demolished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, sad reality for you, that's even worse than it was in my game, is that by losing your lane, you're also making mid really hard as well, because it's a Bloodseeker. But the sad reality is all the little things I've mentioned to you made the matchup worse. And those are the little things we need to trim up, is the item purchases, the thought going into the lane, what's going to go wrong, how do I avoid it, that kind of stuff. And then good matchups will go better, and unfavorable matchups will be slightly less terrible. So, and that's what we need to avoid happening in these type of games, especially in this meta where lanes, it's pretty much like one of those things where you can just lose a game in the lane. I'm willing to, I think for the rest of, I think I'm willing to just chop this game up right now. Like, I don't think you have any control over winning this game. I think this game's over. To be honest with you, that's just this meta in a nutshell. What I mean by this, the game being over, I don't mean just, you know, destroy your items and walk down mid. At this stage in the game, you are at the mercy of the other team throwing the game. That's all it is. Like, you have to, the only way to play right now is to do the best possible things you can do and hope they mess up. And I hate trying to coach those kind of games. I don't think it helps, right? Like, let's just hope the enemy team doesn't know to not walk into our towers at 14 minutes or, you know, something like that. So do you have another game we can pull up and make sure we get, you know, as much out of this session as possible?
Sure.
Yeah, my mod said it correctly. It's not unwinnable. It's just not worth evaluating from a getting better perspective. Exactly. That's a great way to Just not beneficial use of our time to analyze your perspective on
it. Give me 1 second.
For moderators, I'm updating this for everyone to understand.
Anyone here know what a dead lane is?
If I'm in the middle of a game or in a coaching session, you can leave chat on on regular mode. But if I'm in a coaching session or if I'm done with my coaching session or between games, I want it in sub mode. That's going to be the new philosophy. So any mods that are willing to help with that would be okay. Pulling up this game. So looks like you are
Antimage.
Oh, okay. I feel like I checked every hero and couldn't find Antimage, or couldn't find you. Okay, so you're Antimage against what looks like a Pudge Necro.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to tell you is, here's the harsh reality. If you're trying to learn carry, hard carries just don't fucking work in this meta, on average. You're at the mercy of your team. If you want to reliably win games, pick the strongest laners in the game. That's all there is.
Yeah, I was gonna pick like Juggernaut or something else, but then like everyone just starts spamming in chat like go Antimage, go Antimage, go Antimage, and I was like, guys, listen, if
Who
I'm gonna
wants
go
an
Antimage
Antimage on their team in this meta? What are your teammates smoking? Sorry.
that happened like after they refreshed the MMR, it just gets bad and bad. Like they were like. Just go Antimage, and I was like, if I go Antimage, like I won't be able to contribute to the fight the way you guys want, and up till like 18-20 minutes, unless like I get like Battle Fury at like really early stages.
Yeah. So here's how I look at this meta, okay? This is something that hasn't always been the case, pretty much never was. If you're down by 5k at 10 minutes, you pretty much lost the game. Like, you cannot win, unless the opponent's, like, there's nothing you can do to win. You have to hope the opponents mess up. In the past, it was possible to come back from a 5k deficit playing flawlessly and then having the opponent make like one mistake. In this patch, the opponent has to continually fuck up, like at least 5 times. And at your bracket, that's absolutely possible. Like even in my bracket, that's absolutely possible. But why put yourself in that spot? That's not how you gain MMR, right? You're not going to gain MMR by hoping the opponent messes up. So the way I look at it is every drafting stage, every patch is a little bit different. There's a balance between, do I draft for the game plan or do I draft for the lanes? In this patch, it's about 95% drafting for the lanes. Like, about 95%. You know, maybe 90. We'll be nicer to the rest of the game. Maybe 90%. Because the fact is, you still have to consider having, like, some team fight, having some catch, and all that stuff. But if you lose the lane, nothing fucking matters. Like, nothing else matters. If they're 2k net worth ahead of, like, if their core is 3 levels ahead of you at 10 minutes into the game, I don't give a shit what your team or what your hero is supposed to do in the game, because you won't be able to do it. That's pretty much how I look at it. Like, you can't actually play Dota if you're behind the enemy core by 3 levels. You just can't play. So, in this current patch. So, it's just one of those things where I'm just emphasizing to you that, you know, if you're at 3K, you're at 4K, whatever, that your teammates are also at 3K or 4K. And I highly recommend that, you know, don't listen to them if you think they're wrong. Like, if you question their decisions, don't listen to them. I'm saying, for me, that I complained about yesterday, but also what I consider, is if I have a ranked 500 player telling me what to do, no offense, I'm going to blow them off. Like, if I disagree with them, I'm just going to be like, fuck you, like, you don't know what you're talking about. But like, any time that a player like ranked 10 or above, or even ranked like 20 or above, says something that I don't necessarily agree with, but maybe I just don't understand, I just listen. I just do it. Like, I literally just am like, oh, like, fuck it. Like, I'll listen. Like, you know, you must understand something I don't. Whatever. and take their word
That's
as
true.
like.
I do agree with you, but like I lost like 200 MMR just because of that. Like in 3K, like people they just don't listen. They just like start raging. They leave your lane, and like they do that stuff, and then they just go on to other lanes, and they're like, okay, fine, do it. Be happy. Like
Okay.
even if you try to like imply anything on them, they're just like, no man.
Okay.
They're just
So
too cocky to
I
listen
want
to
you.
anything.
I get you, man. I understand. So I'm not trying to tell you to be
Yeah, yeah. No, I
toxic.
got what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
So my point though is if you're going to be in that spot, the best thing you can do to minimize that is pick heroes that win the 1v1 versus their core. So like if I assume that my support's just going to abandon me, even if they're not going to, I have to, if that's something that happens enough that I have to take it into account, then I have to pick a hero that beats Necro by itself in lane. Like, otherwise, my lane's gonna suck. Your support actually seems to be doing a decent job right now. My point is, I feel like in this meta, from the carry perspective, if I don't pick Bloodseeker, Necro, PL, or Clinks, maybe Ursa, maybe Monkey King in certain matchups, I'm at the mercy of my support, or I just lose. That's just how it is. Those are like the only carries that I can name that, without proper supporting, may actually have a decent game. But every other carry in the game, you're completely reliant on your supports. And that's just the reality right now. It sucks. I don't like it, but it's reality. So if you're trying to get better at carry, and you feel like your teammates are actually stopping you, I'm not even going to argue with you. The only way to prove yourself whether you're right or wrong is to pick heroes that can reliably do their job without the support helping them. Like, don't pick these hard carries that rely on your supports doing the proper things to win. It's like, what happens though is, like yesterday, is I was off lane on that Axe game, and I'm forced to pick before my opponent laner. So I pick Axe, he picks Weaver, I have a bad lane matchup. And then my support just abandons me. And then I go like 2-10. And I'll tell you from my perspective, and yours, that if you have a bad lane matchup, and your support does that, you're going to go 2-10 and lose the game. Like, you're actually just going, like, okay, maybe not lose the game. You're going to have to hope your team carries you. That's gonna happen. Spoiler alert. Like, if you're in a bad matchup and you get left into a 1v2 in this current patch, you're going to be level 4, the opponent's going to be level 8, and you're just going to have no game. Spoiler alert for everyone in chat. So, basically, my point is that the best thing you can possibly do is to try to pick your core after they pick. Otherwise, pick Necro or Bloodseeker. That's the only advice I got. Like, the only two cores I think I can pick before they pick and reliably not just lose my fucking lane are Necro and Bloodseeker right now. Those are the only two. It's sad reality. Yeah. Like, why do you think my game history looks like this? Like, I'm just like, well, shit, guess I'm picking Bloodseeker. Like, I look at it like another lineup, and I'm like, well, my support's an Oracle, and they have a strong dual lane. I guess I'm picking Bloodseeker. You know, like, I don't know how else to win from the carry role. That's my personal opinion. It just sucks. So far, I mean, I actually like a lot of the things you're doing. You're missing a few extra CS than you have to, but that's not something I'm not going to worry about coaching in this session. I've talked a lot about, flaming teammates and making sure you... So let's watch and see what you do wrong here. Looks like you're actually having a pretty decent lane. So far, you actually have...
That's the thing, like, I couldn't understand, like, what calls I made wrong, and, like, then I lost the lane, or, what, like, did I made the wrong items and stuff.
So you're definitely, just to be blunt, you're missing, like, random CS. I'm watching at least like 5 or 6 random CS, and that will affect things. But in your bracket, you could probably get away with this kind of thing and still carry the game.
Yeah.
So let's just I'm just mentioning that, but I'm not gonna like analyze it any further. So you're against Necrophos. What did you buy? You bought okay. Very, very repetitive mistakes. Generally, how I look at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I should have bought that Ring of Health.
Okay. And yes, I'm glad you see it, but the problem that I'm going to mention that just has to get fixed for you and everyone else that I like, even the girl I just coached, is if you want to reliably win games, you have to actually predict this stuff ahead of time. Who am I laning against? What does it look like? How does Necro win lanes? General question. How does he win lanes?
Basically just like from his aura putting us down, and then like he uses ulti.
Yeah, he slowly wears you down and either pushes you away or gets level 6 and ults you, right? That's like... Yeah. So what's... In that case, how do you beat Necro? To the best of your capabilities.
More regen.
Yeah,
just not go down until health. His ulti kills you.
Does he win with high CS base damage?
No.
Like, yeah, he has double null and he has 4 more damage than you. And you have a quelling, right? Like, he doesn't... You know, that... if he's a hero that wins by killing you, you have to be a hero that... Or you have to play in a way that makes it so that you can fight back. If it's a hero that wears you down, you have to buy enough regen. If it's a hero that CS is better than you, you have to buy some damage. Like, it's literally very... Like, as a carry, the less items you have, the more important it is whatever you're purchasing. Right?
Okay.
Because if you make the wrong purchase right now, half of your net worth is wrong.
Okay.
2/3 of your net worth is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's not meant to do what it needs to do. So I immediately look at this and say, unacceptable, has to be the Ring of Health, then go other items. I don't think you need a full wand either. I think you're overvaluing wand as an item. I think, in general, like, almost every carry in the patch right now will go wand after, like, full treads or Aquila kind of stuff.
Okay.
Like, stop buying these 2 branches. First off, just to help you out a little bit. Wand used to be really good because it was regen, right? It would just... It was something you bought on, like, every hero because it gave you 2 health regen. And now it's just... Like, you can buy the stick if you think you need it. That's absolutely fine. Like, against whatever matchup you're in. If you're like, hey, they're going to use a lot of abilities, I'll buy a stick. Sure, go ahead. But the full wand is very shitty for how much you're paying for it compared to other items that you could be buying. So you're definitely overvaluing wand, and it's definitely impacting you. You know, you're just... You want to play this lane up in this guy's face, but you're actually... You missed another CS there while you were shopping. You're forced to play very passive. You were playing pretty aggressive early on, right? I saw it. Yeah. You were actually playing very aggressive. Why are you not playing aggressive now?
Basically, like, he pulled the wave, so I was just watching, like, Necro, and plus, like, I have only, like, healing salve.
That's the point, though, right? Is you don't have the regen to play aggressively. It was the exact same thing as when the girl said, well, I never got her name, so I'll just call her the girl. Whatever. When she said, you know, I don't know why I lost this fight. And then I rewound the fight, and before the fight started, she had 30% mana on Medusa. And I'm like, well, you're going to lose the fight because you're missing 70% of your mana. And it's like, you may say, what am I doing wrong? And you're like, well, you're like, I'm playing passive because I only have a healing salve. And I'm like, well, then you should not have only a healing salve. Like, it's one of those things where after everything's said and done, certain things in Dota are very simple. Like, it is just, there is nothing more to this. There's, like, no over-analyzing. Like, there's some games where I've literally said we lost the lane because of one thing, and people go, BSJ, you can't say you lost the lane and then lost the game because of one thing. And I'm like, yes, I can. Like, this patch is so snowballing. What happened the other day was I was Mirana, and we got a kill, and then my Treant died. I was against Necro, by the way. I got a kill. I had I used all my bottle charges. I was at like 20%, 30% health, and 30% mana, and I told my Treant to TP back in and fill my bottle. And he fucked it up, so he didn't fill my bottle. And then what happened was I got gone on, and I was forced to TP back to base. And because I didn't get my bottle refilled and was forced to TP back to base, Necro farmed 2 creep waves that I was in base for. So he had 8 more CS on me. And we just lost the lane instantly. And then if you watch the rest of the game, we just lost. And it's like, people may say, BSJ, you make a lot of excuses or whatever. What more is it? What more to it is it? Like, is there? Like, I literally lost a 16 CS swing because of one mistake. Like, it just happens in this patch. It's brutal.
That's true. That's true.
And for you, right now, that's just a patch right now. The lane snowball, Every little CS you're missing. every little CS you're giving this Necro because you can't play aggressive because of your health. It's costing you a ton. Like, it really is. So, my point to you is I'm actually emphasizing the very simple little things. You seem to know why you're not able to play aggressive. Fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you know this stuff... Go ahead.
My mentality was like, basically, like, Necro was under leveled than me. And, like, and I was like, I can buy the Ring of Health afterwards. And, like, because I can punish him. Like, I have, like, he wouldn't come up to me because of, like, my Q, mana break. Okay. Like, I could just blink in and, like, take out his mana and then go back. Like, at that time, like, I was having Tango, so I was like... And he was, like, playing very cautiously. So that was one of the reasons, like, I wasn't buying Ring of Health.
Okay, my idea is to try to explain it to you is because you're ahead. Well, no, I actually want to be very clear about this. Sorry to interrupt you, but if you're ahead, theoretically, if you're 2 levels ahead, do you need treads in order to do what you just said?
Nope.
No. Do you need full health?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all there is to it. Like, what you're saying, I understand your thought, okay? Like, I'm not dismissing what you're thinking. I'm dismissing the idea behind what you think you need to do what you want to do. You don't care, like, it just doesn't matter if you're 2 levels or twice the net worth of somebody else if you have half health. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. Like, if I'm significantly ahead in a lane, generally what that means is that I will be able to control all of the creeps, and the other guy can't walk up. He literally can't enter the lane. So, as a hero like Antimage, I can rewind and tell you, does this hero push towers?
Nope.
No. So, what, I mean, this is going into more advanced stuff, but this is relevant. What should the lane equilibrium look like for the next 5 minutes?
Like, where I'm standing, it should be, like, over there. I should be controlling that way.
Should be, like, right here, right?
Yeah,
right here,
I should be controlling so that, like... Yeah, so that I can see, like, when Necro comes up, I can punish him and then go back to my creeps.
Exactly.
And
so, if you heard my sessions earlier, maybe you didn't, I'll just reemphasize this. As an anti-mage type hero, or at any point in the game, it's important to ask yourself, am I trying to get anything done right now? If you're not trying to get anything done right now, what are you doing?
But nothing, just farming.
You're just farming, and your goal is to prevent them from getting whatever they want, if it's possible. Okay? So right now you're farming. You don't need to get anything done, right? You're an anti-mage. You don't push towers.
Yeah.
We don't care about towers. So what's the Necro want to do right now? That's all we care about, right? Because we're farming. We don't need to do anything. All we care about at any point in the game when we don't need to do anything because we need to farm is what the enemy needs. That's all we care. That's all we care about at any stage in the game. 5 minutes into the game, 40 minutes into the game. It doesn't matter. What does he want to do right now?
Either he's gonna go in his jungle, or try to take the small camp.
Is it acceptable in this patch to jungle?
No.
Will he get annihilated and be down by 5 levels at 10 minutes if he jungles?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's his only option that's good for him?
Could sit, like, in the trees and, like, gain more experience, or, like, wait for me to push in the lane.
Is that acceptable to sit in the trees and get... If you deny every single creep, how much experience are you getting compared to him?
Double, I think.
5 times as much.
5 times.
Denies are worth 25% for them, and you get 25%. So effectively, from a creep wave, if you deny every creep, they're getting 25% of what they should get, and you're getting 125% of what you should get.
Okay.
So you are getting 5 times as much XP as he is. So is it acceptable for him to sit in the trees and wait for you?
Nope.
If you're denying every creep. So,
nope.
If you are farming, you're in farm mode. Like I said, emphasizing again, you're not a tower pressing hero, right? That's not what you do. What's he trying to do right now? He's trying to get levels and farm because it's super early on in the game, right? Like that's all. It's that simple. So what's your only purpose since you're not trying to get anything done? Preventing him from getting whatever he wants, which is levels and farm. So you should literally just be here, getting every last hit and every deny, maintaining the creep wave right here, right? And so. That's one of those things that it is a little more advanced, but at the same time, I think the biggest problem I have with people in general, like the lack of understanding I feel like that's missing, is you're either trying to get something done or you're preventing them from getting something done. It's that simple. And if you're playing the carry role, in the time that you're preventing them from getting something done, you're farming and preventing them from getting it done, right? Like, that's what you're doing in the meantime, you know? Like, if you're a support, maybe you're sitting behind your carry who's farming, making sure they don't die or something. But, like, as a carry, it's pretty straightforward, meaning you're always farming. It's just you're either farming to pressure or take an objective, or you're farming to prevent them from getting anything. That's the two situations you can possibly be in. Like, there's obviously a little more complication to it, meaning, like, it's a little bit different every game. Like, whatever the objective they're trying to take is different, or whatever objective you're trying to take is different. But the point is, I'm hammering it home, like, more as much as I possibly can to you and everyone. You're either in objective taking mode or preventing objective taking mode. And whatever one you're in, you need to know what it is. Meaning, if you're in objective taking mode, you need to know what objective you're looking to take and the conditions it requires for you to get it. If you're in defensive mode, you need to know what their objective is and what their ideal way of getting that done is. So say their objective is this tier 1, for instance. It's not right now, but say their objective is this tier 1. What's it going to look like? How are they going to take it? And, like, eventually, when they try to take this tier 1, what's it going to look like in this game?
They're going to try to push in the lane as much as they can.
Okay, but who's going to be there? Who's going to do it?
Either Pudge and Necro and maybe Veno.
Okay.
Like,
if you're you're 4 levels ahead of Necro, can they do that with those heroes?
I don't think so.
Okay,
no.
So if you're ahead of Necro, like we should be, and you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what hero is going to be here to push this tower? Because you're here, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, these guys can't take this tower. That's what you're saying, right? Like, their objective is this tower. Then, if you're ahead in lane, what's the only hero on their team that does anything to you?
Void or...
Void, period. Voker, maybe he shows up, but he's not going to kill you. He needs Chrono to kill you, okay? So, when you're farming these creeps, say 4 minutes from now, what is the literal only thing you care about in the entire game?
That, like, Void rotates down with his Chrono.
His Chrono cooldown and where he is. Exactly. That's all that matters. If you are able... There's a lot of information in Dota, okay? There's a lot of stuff going on. The goal as a core, I'm telling you this because you said you're trying to learn and everything, and the goal is to best of your ability is to sort through all the random shit and only care about what matters to you. If Veno randomly shows up in your lane, what are you going to do? Worst case scenario, right now. Worst case scenario. You run into a Veno. What are you doing?
Just blink out or try to deny more.
You literally just blink away to safety, reevaluate, and then continue doing what you're doing, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. My point about that, I'm not trying to interrupt you, I'm just trying to make sure we get as much information as possible, is you don't give a shit about Veno or Pudge. Like, whatever they're doing, okay, maybe the only reason you care about Pudge is that you wouldn't want to blink away from somebody else and then get hooked by Pudge. So maybe if Pudge is missing, you're less inclined to ever blink. You'll just hold your blink. You know what I mean? You'll just literally farm without blinking. But other than that, the only hero that actually matters to you is Void. And so if your sole purpose in this game is, okay, imagine, to play mechanically, pushing buttons correctly, I mean, like CSing properly, all that kind of stuff, and you just know all I have to do is maintaining lane equilibrium, the only thing I give a shit about is Void, does that sound really easy?
Yeah.
So my point is, Dota's a very hard game, okay? It's very hard. And the point that I'm trying to make is the goal that you can have and everyone can have is to get to this point that I brought us to. It's hard. It's harder. It's easier said than done, right? I have a lot more experience. I've experienced, like, there's things I don't know, but like these type of things I know, right? And I've been here. I've made these mistakes. I've learned from them. So just making sure you know the objective or not objective taking. And then just ask yourself that question every single game. Okay? You just have to. You have to be like, what mode am I in and what am I doing with it? And if you mess up, you're going to learn a lot more from it if you're thinking that way. Because you're going to be like, what did I miss here? You know, like, what about this? Oh, it's like, I'm in tower taking mode. I'm going to go push this tower. And then you die, and you're like, what did I miss? Were they all 4 missing and I had to do it when they're all showing? Or did I need another item? Or did I, you know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I got it.
So it's a long speech, but either way, the major mistake you're making here that I'm rewinding to is the fact that you're pushing a lane that doesn't need to be pushed. And all Necro cares about is getting creeps and getting XP and gold, right? And so he just died. What kind of lane should he return to?
Like, the lane is gonna be back.
Lane just sitting right here, right? And he can't do shit.
Yeah.
And now, instead, he's going to come back as a hero that, honestly, can't even walk into lane, right? And he's just going to get farm. Like, maybe he doesn't get creeps, like, doesn't get last hits, but he's against 3 heroes down here, and he's getting XP.
But I think the only reason I pushed in was like maybe like I could do some tower damage and like
with the catapult.
Like
was that the idea? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine actually. I'm fine with that. So from my experience as a player, I could tell you that as Antimage, this early on, doesn't matter what the opponent is, pretty much, you ain't doing shit to that tower with a catapult. But I know that because I've experienced Antimage and all that stuff. So my goal is, you're allowed to make these mistakes because they're things that come from experience. My goal is that you think that, okay, exactly what you just told me, which is reasonable. You're like, I've got a catapult. I'm going to push this tower. I'm okay with that. That's actually fine reasoning. And then you do this. Give this guy 2 levels and get this much damage on the tower.
Yeah, I got it. What you
know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you need to learn from. And I'm fine with that. If that's a mistake you made and then learn that much from it, great. You'll learn, you'll gain MMR quite fast doing that kind of stuff. Fast all being relative, meaning, it's still, you're not going to skyrocket. But either way, it's still a grind. Either way, though, right? That's my goal. Is if your thought was, I'm going to push the tower, which is absolutely reasonable, but then you do that, then you're going to be like, oh, next time, not going to push that tower. Wasn't worth giving that guy, 400 XP in order to do, 280 damage to that tower. And that's the kind of stuff where it's actually a lot you can learn from this OpenAI shit. Do you know how they make those OpenAIs better over time? You know what they do?
Nope.
All they do is they pin them against each other and run like hundreds of thousands of simulations. And what happens is after their each individual action the bot makes, it registers whether or not that was net positive or negative effect. And then it learns from it, right? Like that's all it's doing.
Yeah.
And so, while that's a bot, can't you apply that to yourself? Like, I chose to push this tower. Was that worth it?
Not
280
really.
gold or 280 damage for how much XP he's getting now? No. Don't do it again next time in a similar situation on a similar hero. And that's how I actually think looking at Dota, if you're asking yourself the questions that I'm telling you to ask yourself, you'll be able to assess situations like that. You'll be able to be like, oh, that wasn't worth it. Oh, that was good. Oh, I should have waited for this. Oh, whatever. Whatever the, random occurrences that happen. Well, that's just Dota, right? It's a lot of learning through experience, and the only thing that I can do with coaching is making sure you're thinking the right things so that you learn as quickly as possible. That's unfortunate. Oh, are you dead? Sunstrike? Oh, okay. Okay. So, why is it that... Okay, I think it's kind of funny. It happened... No, it's happened with 2 carry players in a row now. Okay. So you're level 7. You have 3,700 net worth. That seems pretty decent, right? That's pretty good. Look at the game. It's going pretty well so far. Now I tell you the way you're playing, you are level 4 with 1800 net worth. Does that sound very good right now?
Nope.
Use the fucking shrine. You know what I'm saying? Like, be full health. You know, what's going on here?
I was gonna use it, but then like I had like region, I was just saving it for like bad scenario, like if I get ganked down again or something like in the jungle, so I can use the shrine and get the fuck out from there.
Okay, I got you. Okay, here's the deal, man. I'm gonna be like, I'm making sure you have. The point about this kind of stuff is you need to be confident in these decisions that I'm making, telling you to make. It is not acceptable if there is a shrine available, if you are half health on a carry, to not use it. Unless you're Slark, it's not acceptable, right? Or Huskar maybe, because you don't actually want to be full health. But either way, my point is, like, this shrine should get used 100% of the time. The only concern you should possibly have is any of my teammates need a shrine. You could be like, hey, Skywrath Mage, you want to TP to the shrine? You look at his inventory, you see this, and you go, okay, and you use the shrine. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's maybe the extent of doubt you can have about using this shrine. But it was very similar. The girl I coached, she pretty much, like, there were little things that went wrong, but she did a lot of stuff really well for like the high 3K, 4K bracket, that I think she did well enough that if she managed her regen properly, I think she won that game. Like the game I coached her and she lost.
Yeah.
And so I'm pointing out to you and her and everyone else that improperly managing your own health and mana pool actually just loses you fucking games.
Watching your stream.
In 1 second, I actually just remembered that I'm going to accept a coaching session after you. Not saying we're, going to be done. I just got to make sure I accept the person.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, where was I going to get here? So, yes, just remember that if you are half health at any given point, you are neutering your net worth by half. Maybe even more. Just remember that. What I mean by that is I want you to remember that because it will help you understand the importance of this shit, right? Like, you won't neglect using shrines because you'll be like, my choice is to use the shrine and double my net worth or not. And then, the choice is pretty obvious. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, my next real quick thought is, why wouldn't you return to bottom right after this?
Because there's an Orc and Necro is gonna TP bot again.
Okay.
And like there's mid free, and like I see there's not, like, my mid player is not there. Like no one is there, and the free CS, I'll just blink there, use farm those creeps, and then maybe farm the small camp, or just like TP down to bot when there's no one at bot. Okay. Or else I'll just farm mid, and when there's no creep, I'll go back to jungle, then go back to mid again.
Okay. So all that was actually pretty accurate. So what I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to ask you real quick. What's the distinction between lower MMRs and higher MMRs that I've talked about a lot today? Do you know? What's the difference?
Basically, the way they play effectively, like they use everything, like every major decisions they make, like it's basically according to the opponents, like what they're doing, and they do the opposite if they have to do that. And like in my opinion, like the low MMR, if he sees like an Orca being on my lane, he will just go back to the same lane.
Okay.
And he will try to farm, but he will get killed over there for sure.
Okay, so absolutely. Based on what you're saying, I'm actually going to agree with what you're saying, but it wasn't the answer I was looking for. You are correct though. Like that is accurate. But that wasn't what I was looking for. So I'm going to take what you said and combine it with what I was saying here, or what I was thinking. Okay. Basically, you're correct, right? The first step is actually doing the right thing. That is, and you are doing the right thing. You actually told me the right thing. So the difference, though, not only is it doing the right thing. So the first step, obviously, is if you're not doing the right thing, then it doesn't matter what you're doing, how well you're doing it. It's just wrong. The next step that really increases MMR as you go up, and like it increases as you go up, is it just happens way faster. Like whatever I'm supposed to be doing, it happens way faster. So, do you want to lane bottom if it's just Necro?
Yes.
Okay. So what's stopping you from being bottom?
It's Invoker over there.
Okay. So how do you get Invoker out of bottom?
I go back to mid.
Okay.
I push in the lane.
Okay.
And then like the moment I see like Invoker is back, like because he's gonna come back to mid to prevent the tower getting down.
Okay.
And like he's gonna see the free farm over there, and he saw like he tried to kill me, but like nothing happened.
Okay. So is it acceptable for you to walk into that lane against Invoker with 300 health?
Nope.
No. Okay. Good.
I'm
How much
gonna use
time
this
should
guy.
Necro have bottom lane to farm without you there?
The time I'm gonna use the shrine and then TP back. That's all.
As little as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Good. I'm glad, man. I'm not saying this in a mean way. I'm surprised you nailed that. That answer was perfect. Okay, that was great. So So let's be clear. You want to be bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the thought, that's something that should happen every game. What lane do I want to be in when this kind of shit happens? The minute this happens to me, I literally try to ask myself, what lane do I want to be in? Okay. Sometimes you want to go to the opponent's safe lane. Sometimes you want to go mid. Sometimes you want to go back. So
it literally depends on every hero, like
exactly, yeah. So what I'm telling you is you arrived at the correct conclusion. Okay, you said I want to be back bottom. What's stopping me from being bottom? Invoker. How do I get him out of bottom? I don't go kill him. Sometimes that is done directly by killing him.
But
sometimes it's done indirectly. And in this case, you assessed it correctly. You said I go mid, and then he comes mid, and then I go bottom. And that was perfect, okay? That answer was exactly correct. So, what issue do I have with this entire next process?
Like, I didn't use the shrine, that's all.
How many jungle creeps should you have hit?
Only one camp?
0.
Okay.
Do you see your jungle creep you hit is 10 seconds of Necro farming this lane without you there.
Okay.
Are you now understanding how terrible that was?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm trying to explain to you is the next step is not only understanding what's good for you, but also what your actions do to the opponent. So what you're failing to see in your entire grasp, which is actually, like I said, you were quite accurate with everything you said. Imagine, okay, what just happened here? In this whole exchange where you went mid, if you got here 10 seconds earlier at full health,
then like I would have TP back and
you kill this entire wave. It's in his tower. Invoker's now under his tower defending. You now TP, and this Necro misses 4 extra creeps.
Yeah.
So by doing what you did to jungle and skip the shrine, you gave lane pressure and farm to Invoker mid. You missed 5 lane creeps. And you gave Necro a total extra wave that now goes into your tower when he's level 6 and you're level 8. That is what I want to emphasize as the impact of one jungle camp that you chose to farm. Okay? So my point is what I said to the Medusa player as well as yourself. Here's how neutral creeps work. What else is there to do in the game? Nothing? Okay, hit neutrals. Okay? Like that's the one guiding rule. There's nothing else for me to do right now? Okay, hit neutrals. And then the next step would be like, what do I want to do if there is something to do? Okay, hit neutrals near that. You know, like, if I want to be in bottom lane, but I can't be there yet, hit neutrals and then go bottom. You know what I mean? But hit these neutrals, don't, like, go hit these or some shit. My point, though, is you said, I want to be bottom. To get bottom, I need to get Invoker back to mid, and then I want to go back. So that should be blink here, shrine, blink here, farm, TP. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. Yeah. You got the first half. You did the right thing in terms of conceptually. Now do it faster.
That's one of the things, like, I couldn't figure out why, like, in game, like, as like games goes on, like, I don't know why. Like, I know, like, if I blink, like, it's not gonna take that much mana once I get the battlefield or even I get the power traits. Like, I'm gonna have the mana constantly regioning up. But like, I don't know why I don't use the blink more and more efficiently to farm like jungle as soon as I get the battlefield. Like, I prefer walking. I like literally no idea why.
My main thing for you is on every hero in the game, You just want to find. It just takes time. You need to push your limits. In whatever way, expend a lot of mana, expend a lot of health to farm, or like push the efficiency. And what happens is sometimes you'll randomly die, sometimes you'll mess up, sometimes you won't be able to be in a fight. But you need to be able to find where that fine line is of how much mana and health you're able to expend. So the main thing I look at is, over time on Antimage, when you're farming, what do you primarily lose?
Mana.
I'd say health, because you're tanking creeps, and you're tanking creeps, right? What were you missing right here? You were missing health, and any hero that comes to mess with you can usually bully you at this stage in the game. So you're going to be losing health. So the way I look at this is the amount of mana that you should have used prior to 9 minutes is however much the shrine refills. You see that reasoning?
Yeah.
You would have used the shrine right here. So, you know, why isn't this mana here? You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. You need to have a healthy balance of mana and health. That's all there is to it. If you're using all of your health and no mana, then you're missing efficiency. If you're using all of your mana and no health, you're probably also being inefficient. Because what happened is you probably weren't like trading effectively with people or whatever, you know? So it's this balance, right? Especially now that shrines are in the game, because because they refill both, so you want to use them equally. But the point is, I want to show you actually. I'm going to show you my Axe game. This Weaver was a good player, like despite it being a favorable matchup for him and everything. He was a pretty good player. Yeah, he was ranked 200. He's a good player. Like, you know, he's obviously a good player. So I'm going to show you real quick his version of what you just did. Okay, I'm just going to show you real quick, and we're going to wrap up the session somewhere around here. I'm gonna go back into your game for about 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. I want to show you this real quick. So what happened in yours was you got bullied away with half health, and the reason why these situations are similar, to be clear to you and everyone else, who wins, you versus Necro?
Who wins?
Like at that stage in the game where you were when you got bullied away, if it's just you and Necro, who wins the lane?
Me.
Okay. So in those type of situations, it should be your utmost priority to be back in that lane as soon as possible, right? Because so like we said, if you can't go there because there's an Invoker, force Invoker away, then get back as soon as possible. So this is what Weaver does, right? I'm going to show you what Weaver does. He kills me here. This was after my techie's already abandoned the lane. He's going to kill me here. Okay, so he knows when I respawn. Do I want him back in my lane?
No, you're gonna kill him anyways.
Yeah. So what does he have to do before I respawn?
Regen up as soon as quickly he can, and then come back to lane.
Okay. You seeing the difference between 4K and 7K? Like, how quickly that happened? Like, I TP back in a tower and I got smoked on Dove. Okay, like I'm just portraying to you how fast that was. Like they did good. That was a good play. Like that. Like, and there's literally, if they do that perfectly because they're in a favorable matchup where my techies like just screwed me over, I can't prevent that. Like I have like
now you have to walk back and lose the time and the experience.
Exactly. And if you do that exact move where you blink all the way to mid after shrining, Invoker comes, you TP back bottom, and you go blink on the Necro, what can he do about it?
I could drain out his mana. Most probably.
No, I'm saying, what can he do about you doing that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
He's just gonna run on.
Exactly. Nothing. If you're in these situations where the opponent can't do anything, you have to take advantage of that in the best way possible, right? You have to take advantage of that, and so that's what we're primarily seeing there. So fast forwarding a bit.
Yeah, just fast forward. Like I got what you meant from the early game.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, we're definitely fast forwarding. So as long as Void's not here, you're not exactly scared, but I wouldn't exactly want to be in lane against these guys. Let's see what you do.
Yeah, but like the other reason I was like, okay, he used his spells. Like I know there's like 1% chance he's gonna kill me. And
Yeah.
like my top lane was pushed in by my other 3 heroes, and like mid lane they were like, that's one of the reason I didn't want to show up on the mid.
I'm fine with this right now. I'm fine with everything you're doing. The mode you're in is similar to what the Medusa was. Just don't die. Defend your safe lane as best you can. A little close there, but now you definitely go top. Good. Okay, you're doing that. Cool. Fast forwarding. I mean, you seem to have a pretty good grasp conceptually. I think the golden is to, you know, enhance that and like really light a fire under your ass, saying like this needs to be done faster with more sense of urgency. I'm fine with this play. Back to top. Good. Okay. So far, so good. I'm actually very happy with this. Fast forwarding. So I can tell you clearly, I mean, obviously I know you watch the stream, but I can tell you, you have like learned from watching the stream based on your map movements. Once again, like, it's funny. Like the average, like, I'm not saying this to brag for myself. I'm saying like, to hope that it reaches people that I can tell the map movements of the last 2 people, you and the girl I coached, are far above 3K. Like, these are actually really good map movements. You're just a little slow in the early game with what we said. So
yeah, I'm playing the things I know.
Yeah, so this is actually like applying in terms of like dead lane and shit. This is quite good. I'd say that was a little unnecessary. You have a TP on you. So what's your What's your purpose in the game right now?
If like the bot lane is pushed in, I have to push that out, or
if it's safe enough to do so. But what lane is like your lane?
Top lane.
Okay, top.
If there's none.
Right, and so what's the only hero, for the most part, you're concerned about top? There's a few heroes like
Void.
Void, right?
Void or Invoker.
Yeah, Void or Invoker.
Moment.
So, right now, it's one of those things where this is a perfect example of why is hitting neutrals right now good? Your objective's right top lane. Why is hitting neutrals right now good?
Because like I don't see anyone else on the map. Like I don't see Void or Invoker on the map.
So you don't feel safe going to top lane, right?
Yeah.
So my goal for you would be clear all these neutral camps, and then what?
Then like I just like according to that, like where I'm safe to go, I will just go over there and farm out.
But top lane's your first priority, so you're always looking at top, right?
Sure.
That's my main thing. You're always looking at top. So the way I would look at this is you blink from here to the Ancients, you clear it. You're still walking a lot. You blink from here to Ancients, you clear it.
Yeah.
You're going to lose like half health. You blink back to here, you shrine, you go top. And if you absolutely need to be here, you can TP. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you have a TP, it's the same thing as not using your blink. Don't go to places that fights are occurring on these split pushing heroes if you have a TP. The whole point of the TP is that you can be anywhere you want and then show up to the fight. So if that's the purpose of the TP, don't just sit at the fight. You know what I mean? Like that's defeating the purpose of the TP. The only way that this would be correct is if your TP was on cooldown and you thought a fight might be happening and you thought you could be useful. Like if your TP was on cooldown right now, I would actually be okay with your decision to do this.
Okay.
Just to be very clear. But if you have a TP, like don't be inefficient on your farming to be with the team at this current moment. The team, everything they're doing right now, what's the purpose of everything your team's doing right now?
To give me space, like I farm as much as possible.
So what are you doing right now to their message? Like if their message is, hey Antimage, we're providing space for you, what are you doing right now?
I'm fucking it up.
You're giving them the good old middle finger and saying, I'm showing up anyway, guys. Let's fight. Like that's what you're saying. Like there's games in high level MMR where like we're literally, you'll hear players like Mason, I've heard it, I even heard, I watched No One stream, where they're literally saying, dude, we made all the space for you to farm, and you're trying to fight, and you die anyway. So all the space we're making, you're just dead, you know, or like you're just not hitting creeps. So it's the same idea here. What are you doing? You're not a playmaker. Get out of here. Look at top lane. Your only obligation is top, right? We talked about this. So far, your map rotations have been quite good. Like, actually.
I could get better.
What is this? You know, like, this is your lane. This is all you care about. This is your... Look at this. That's 400 gold. How much is this Necrophos?
Nothing.
Not maybe 400 like gold.
Maybe 300 or 200.
That's 400.
Yeah.
That's 200, 300, if perfectly played. 400, free gold.
I'm gonna lose the region and every stuff.
What else is up here?
They're gonna get the tower most probably, or like a bounty room.
Yeah. So how much gold is that? That's 90 gold per each hero per bounty.
Yeah.
So that's 450 gold per bounty. 400 gold. 900 gold.
Yeah.
300 gold.
Yeah.
You know, so just it's just the patch right now. Kills are for what purpose?
Like for what purpose?
Why do you kill people in this current patch?
Just to like snowball or like
so you can have more farm or more objectives than they have.
Yeah.
So if there is farm for you to take for free or get a kill, what do you choose? What do you choose?
Can you say it again? Sorry, I got
If you have the choice between farm that is absolutely free for you or going for a kill, what do you choose?
As a core?
Core.
Farm.
100% of the time. Like, it's not even close in this patch. The reason why you kill people in this patch is to gain map control and get more farm. So the only reason you actually kill people is because they're farming more than you, or whatever they're doing is preventing you from farming.
Yeah, or maybe they could be ahead of you. So
so say that's the purpose though, is they're stopping you from farming, right? So like say in order to farm this area, you needed this tower to die. And in order to take this tower, you needed to kill somebody. That's when you go for kills, because you need this fucking tower in order to farm. But if there's farm for you to farm, who gives a shit about kills? Like, I don't care. In my first session, the guy was 6,000 MMR today, okay? And I told the guy, what's your objective? And he said, this tower, or these two tower, or what was it? His objective was Roche. Oh, wait, no, sorry. His objectives were this tower, he was raiding. It was this tower and this tower. And he showed up to a 4-on-4 right here. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm just telling you, like, if you're Antimage and you're split pushing, you clearly understand the dead lane concept at a better level than your MMR. You know this is your lane right now. You know that this is your area. So, if that's your area, when are you allowed to do anything else on the map?
No.
When, though? Are you allowed to do anything else on the map?
Only like when I have my items to like.
When this lane is taken care of. No, simply put.
Like if there's someone like I got killed down.
This is your dog. You're going on vacation, and you need somebody to take care of your dog. You're not allowed to go on vacation until your dog has somebody taking care of it. Otherwise, you're just leaving it at home with nobody there. This is vacation. This is dog. You get the analogy here.
Yeah.
Take care of your pet so it doesn't starve, and then go help your team, okay? I know my analogies are always as good or better than Kyle's, but that's what it is, okay? Like, whatever these lane things I'm talking about, those things are always first priority. Always first. And you have to know what it is every time in the game. You ask yourself, farming patterns, what is it? What is my lane priority? What is it? And if it is, whatever it is, that has to be done first. And the only reason you don't do that first is because whatever they have, you can't do. You can't do, right? Like, that's all there is to it. Like, the only reason you wouldn't farm this area is because you can't do it safely. Is that the look at bounty room, moving on. So what's the difference between your MMR, because you conceptually understand your job, what's the difference between your MMR now and the people above you?
Basically they're doing way better than me.
You're just wouldn't I have been at this lane 50 seconds before you were?
Yeah.
Right? You got here. You're here. You picked up the bounty rings. You just wasted 50 seconds. And that's all there is to it, right? That's what we're trying to get better at. I think your conceptual understanding is pretty good. I think the main thing is you need to light a fire under your own ass. Look at the timer. Right here.
21.
21:04.
Yeah, 1 minute.
What's your first priority right now?
Right now?
Yeah. As I've mentioned time and time again, what's your first priority?
To shove in the lane or get bounty room.
To shove in the lane. Why, in what circumstance would you farm these two camps before you go to lane?
Like when there's no creep showing up on the lane.
That's possible, but what if the timer was 20:45? Why would I say maybe clear those two camps?
so that like if like I can get the next camp also and
Yes.
more gold from
So
it.
look at the
Like
timer.
more farm.
Are these camps going to be here for the next 55 seconds?
No.
Yes, it's 2104. They're going to be here.
Oh yeah,
55
sorry. I
more
meant
seconds.
like if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
meant I
In
thought
the
like
other
you meant
example,
like
yeah, in the
after
other, yeah. So my point is, leave these camps, go do, take care of the dog, vacation, dog,
Okay.
vacation. Okay.
Okay.
So I hope you can laugh to yourself and remember that one, because you're going on vacation and your dog's just starving. He's just like, what happened? You just missed 200 gold to get 150.
Yeah.
Not only are you missing gold, but this would also be at their tier 3.
Yeah.
Already. Maybe you'd even get some damage on this tier 3. Here's the deal. Like I said, all that matters is lighting a fire. Like, I'm actually saying, your conceptual knowledge is pretty good, actually. You forced in top, and then you went bottom. Go ahead.
That's the one thing, because I literally, like, even when I play with my friends, like, who are, like, higher MMR, like, that's the thing, like, I hesitate to do it. I have literally no idea. Like, I know, like, the thing I'm thinking is the correct thing. Like, I have to be there. But then, like, I hesitate to do it. Like, I'm like, no, like, I might be wrong or something. Like, there would be, like, another chance of doing something else better than this. But then, like, I kind of got proven wrong so many times, but I don't know, like, I'm just, like, being stubborn about that so much in my mind.
I will tell you there's a degree of things that psych you out, okay? And this is something I actually kind of wanted to talk about, not with you, but in general to my viewers and to myself, like on stream, just to talk about it, was here's how Dota works, okay? Like in everything else, I think in life in general, is that you... Am I right 100% of the time?
Not really.
No. I mean, you can tell me I am, but I'll say you're full of shit, stop sucking my dick. So, I'm not. But
yeah,
in the current state of anything I'm doing in life, or especially Dota, I have to trust myself and assume everything that I believe is correct to be correct. I have to. That's the only way to utilize whatever knowledge or experience I have. Otherwise, like, if I doubt whatever I know now, what does me knowing anything do? Like, what does it actually accomplish? It doesn't matter if I know anything, if I don't trust myself to follow through, right? So my point being is, whatever it takes for you, I can after watching this, your map movements are honestly pretty damn accurate. I can only tell you that if that's what's holding you back, you just have to do whatever it takes for you to convince yourself that let myself get proven wrong later, act with confidence now. Whether it's a mental blocker, whether it's, nervousness, whatever it is. It's almost always mental, right? It's some mental inhibitor, like you said, your lack of confidence or whatever. You just have to have, like, you have to do whatever it takes for you. Everyone's different.
I think for me, it's like, I started playing Dota like 2 years ago or something. And like, by now, I think I have like around about 7,000 hours or maybe more. So like the other players I play with, like some of them, like I see, like there are some good players in 3K, like their knowledge and stuff, but it's mainly because of the experience they couldn't raise much MMR. And like that's one of the reason, like I think for me is like I don't have that much experience comparing with the other people like who are higher MMR at this stage. Like they have, like, I know people they're playing from like at least 20 years or something like that, maybe like from young age or something. So like most of them, they have like so much experience. Like the things I know, like they do it with the blink of seconds.
Yeah. And what I'm telling you is over time, I'm going to go in basically in the session about now. But basically what I want to say is that I respect that. Like, experience does come a lot into confidence as well as how quickly you do things. All I'm telling you is all the things I've emphasized to you about what's important, like getting back to your lane when you're in a favorable matchup, when it's your job to push a lane, knowing how important that is. Like, the only reason you would take the camps is because, they're about to respawn, so you want to clear a camp real quick. My point is that has to be first priority, and you have to understand that the difference between things that are first priority and second priority is day and night, okay? Like, you can't put off the first priority till 10 seconds later. Have that sense of urgency, and you'll just win games on these type of heroes. Your lane actually went pretty well. You do have the ability to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you do. Maybe you do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I've literally no idea where things went wrong. Like I got the other things from where, like, if you fast forward, like, I've literally no idea. Like, was it like the bad team players or something? Like, in my opinion, I thought like I should have gone Butterfly instead of Basher, but then like I was like, I have no idea.
I'll tell you in a second here. Let me rewind. I wasn't really watching closely, and then we'll end the session.
Yeah, sure.
So when you're a hero like Antimage, the goal is to opt to win the game alone. What's better, applying a little bit of pressure on every lane or a ton of pressure on one?
Like, it really depends. Like, if like the top lane is, it doesn't.
Is it better to apply a little bit of pressure on every lane or all the pressure on one?
I would say one lane.
It is, yeah. So the idea is, what lane are you trying to pressure in this game?
Dead lane.
Okay, it is, yes. So what does this fight do? What does that kill on Pudge do?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Okay, first thing that went wrong. This doesn't matter for fucking shit right now. The minute that Void dies, your TP gets stopped, and then you don't go with this. This lane gets pushed. If you're a little bit faster, maybe this lane already was pushed, and then you could show up, first and foremost. All these things I already told you did inefficiently, maybe this lane's already pushed in, and then you can show up. The point is, what's your job in this game as a split pusher?
Like, to shove in the lanes so that they go back to push out that lanes, and like my team gets more farm and like, more
vacation.
Dog.
Vacation. Okay. So what went wrong in this game? You took too many vacations. Your dog's dying over there. It's at your tier 1. Look at the net worths. Look at the net worths. Your job in this game is to push this lane. You are the most farmed hero on the entire team and game. And this lane is at your tier 1. You have failed your dog, sir. That dog is dying in the corner. It has nothing. The water expired days ago. Okay? My point is to remove myself from the analogy. You know that's your job. Clearly what we've talked about, your conceptual knowledge, you understand it's your job. Stop settling for other things. Recognize this is my job. What will happen is, in this example, maybe you should have been at this fight. But
yeah, like that's what my friend said. Just mute all of them and then like play your game.
Yeah, my point is maybe you should have been at this fight. So maybe the problem was you didn't do everything fast enough. But you still shouldn't show up to this fight if this lane's not pushed. Period. Like, if the heroes that prevent you from pushing this lane are not there, that lane is pushed. Period. Like, it has to happen. Like, watch the games that I solo carry. When I played Necrophos in my Smurf game, watch this lane. Watch how I played it. I was a Dire. I stayed here for, like, 90% of the game. Like, I just shoved this lane in over and over. Like, that was all I did. That's how you solo carry the game. Because all that happens is you're forcing, like, 3 heroes to deal with you. Maybe they kill you once or twice. And then you just continue doing the same fucking thing. And eventually you take all their buildings and, like, or your teammates are killing them or taking towers or something. So here's what happens, okay? If you prioritize what you're doing... Okay, so what's your job in this game?
Split push.
What lane?
Off lane.
Okay. Let's say you made the mistake. Like, maybe it's reasonable. You showed up to this fight. Right now, where the fuck do you go?
Right now?
Yeah, like right now. You killed that guy. Fight's over. Where do you go?
Blink back to top.
You blink your way back to top as humanly fast as possible. Okay? Like, this is the kind of example that you need to light a fire under your ass. Like, it's over and over again. I can tell you it's going to continue throughout the course of this game. Like, I can tell you it's going to keep happening. What happens if you give up control of this area without this being into their tier 3? What's going to happen if you give control of this area because this lane's not constantly at their tier 3? What happens?
They're going to have the major jungle to farm, and like my team will just have like the area we're standing to farm that, and like they're going to farm more efficiently and better than us.
Okay, so that's true. But also, if this lane's at their tier 3, how many of them are going here?
None.
Okay. And if none of them are going here, how many wards are they going to have here?
None.
Okay.
Zero map control, basically.
So they have no information or control on this area. But if I leave this lane here 80% of the time, is it very well possible that they control this area? Maybe they're sitting a support here or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be.
Right? That's absolutely possible. So guess what?
Yeah.
Fast forward 2 minutes. Is that good enough for you? This never happens if this lane's at their tier 3 all game. This right here will never happen. That Pudge will never be able to set up on you. You're an anti-mage. How does he ever keep up with you? The only way he could possibly kill you is if you blink into where he is. And the only reason he can be here is because this lane is not at their tier 3. Like, watch the games I play. Like, you can watch better players than me if you want. Like, but I do this pretty well. My point is, though, if you surrender control of the part of the map you're supposed to control, you actually can't get it back. Like, it's really difficult to get it back. And then you die this one time, and this game's really fucking hard. This game's actually really hard. And you may say, BSJ, it's only one death. You know, why is it that bad?
Yeah, no, I got that one death, like, basically changed the whole game scenario.
That death is game-losing shit. Like, it actually is. And I'm emphasizing that because now the entire dynamic of the game's changed. You're still playing bottom, and this all started from 10 minutes ago, right? And so now you're going to maybe die again. Okay, either way, you're still not farming. Your net worth should be 20k right now. Like, I actually think 20k is completely reasonable if you're, like, a perfect player. So maybe for yourself, the goal would be 18k. You know, if 20k is perfect, maybe we can get 18. So now, though, can you even push this lane?
Nah.
No. Game over. Sorry. I'm actually telling you, right now the game's over. Like, what I mean by that is your ability to single-handedly control this game is over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a game over. You can still win. But your ability, like, with the net worths, isn't it pretty much with the net worth your job to single-handedly carry this game, right? Like, that's pretty much how it is.
Yeah, but no, they're keeping up with me.
And now your job, in order to single-handedly carry this game, was to relentlessly apply pressure on this lane. And you can no longer do that. So how do you win? Like, I personally am just like, at this point, you got to hope they throw, and you get an Aegis, and you win. Like, that's the only way. So I am going to wrap up this session here. I apologize if I sound like I'm rushing.
No worries.
I feel like
can
we
I
talked
ask
about
one thing?
Absolutely.
The best choice of mine, was it right or wrong? Like, I was considering going butterfly over that, but then, like, I was like, okay, like, how about, like, I can control them down because, like, we literally lacked stun. Like, we had, like, only X catch, or maybe, like, if Windrunner got a stun.
Okay, so have you heard my philosophy on split pushing?
No.
Here's how it works. First and foremost, survivable enough to do it. Second, be fast enough that it applies pressure significant enough. Third, what's the third? What can you guess as third? If you are survivable enough and you can do it fast enough, what's third?
Like, able to do it?
Able to kill people who stop you, or try to stop you. So, are you survivable enough? If you had these items 8 minutes ago, which is very reasonable, would you be survivable enough with Manta, Battle Fury against those heroes?
Yeah.
Okay, so is Basher good?
Okay.
Yeah, it is, right? So the only example when you wouldn't go for the kill item is if, say, they have some hero that can kill you with a single target stun, or they're building a sheep or something. So in order to continually be survivable enough, you have to build a Linken's first, or an Ags. You know what I mean? In that case, then you would want to build a survivability item. But none of their heroes, like, particularly build into items that kill you. They're going to kill you the same way, no matter what item you buy, right? Like, that's how they're going to kill you, is Chrono. So I wouldn't mind you going Abyssal here, because you just go full Abyssal, gives you solo kill potential, gives you a little bit of tankiness, that kind of stuff, right? But now,
one of the reason I wanted to go also, like, towards the Abyssal thingy.
And the entire thing is that now, at this point, it doesn't matter what item you build. You're not far enough ahead to do your job. Like, it's just not possible. Like, your item build is correct, but at this point, I can't actually, like, in the future, I can tell you from this game, but in the future, it's really hard for you to assess your own items because it doesn't matter if your items are correct or not if you're 4,000 net worth less than what you should have, because the entire feel, the situation of the game is just inaccurate. Like, it just isn't what it should be. So the goal is first to have the proper amount of farm that you should have, and then once you have that proper amount of farm, then you're able to assess, like, what items should I have built and stuff like that. Just making sure you understand that in this point, there really is no way for you to accurately assess on your own without somebody telling you what is correct if you're just 4K net worth behind what you should have. Any other questions?
No, I think that's all.
Right on, man. Feel free to ask me any questions on the stream whenever you're around. I appreciate all the support, dude. I'm sorry that it took so long.
It's my pleasure. No, it's fine. It's fine, totally.
Right on, man. Thank you, dude. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you.
You too, man. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you for the session, though.
Sounds right on, man. Right on. No problem. Okay, so let's see here. I feel bad. I'm not trying to rush him. He has good questions. It was a good session. I just, there is somebody waiting, so I was trying to get the session to be done just simply because we have somebody waiting. Every session today has gone about an hour and a half, so not ideal, but it's fine if they're good sessions, which they have been. Guy that signed up, I apologize. I hope you're still here. If not, we can